Well, hello and welcome to Little State Big Voices with myself, Shahida, and my fabulous co-host Tracy. How you doing?
Hey y'all, I'm good. I'm refreshed.
I'm glad you're refreshed. I am beat down to the white meat.
I'm
I
sorry to hear that, sis.
oh, my grandson started AAU, and this was their first weekend. And Saturday completely all day, didn't go home till 9:30. Then today didn't get home until 5. I'm just like it's just a lot. It takes a lot out of you, and it was far. Like today's
Yeah.
meet was in Hanover, and that's an hour away, Hanover, Mass. And then the other yesterday it was in Stoughton, and it was at the Dana Barrows basketball center.
You're out there like burning rubber,
I
getting to these
am.
activities. I'm trying to understand that like this is a lull in my lifestyle that I need to appreciate in this moment. I don't have any like immediate young people that I'm responsible for right now. So I'm like, I need to appreciate this lull.
Appreciate it, girl.
Not that it's not great to have, the little young people, but
No, no, it's nice to have that reprieve because after you done got 3 people through college. That's
yes,
work.
it is.
People don't think that it's work on the parents, but it's work on you until they are self-sufficient. And even then, you're still thinking. So, no, take
Yeah,
any reprieve that you need. But I will say one thing Tracy and another friend of ours, they don't believe in naps. I live by a nap.
don't.
I schedule in a nap. If I'm on vacation, there has to be nap time.
I proactively have avoided naps my
Don't
entire
know why.
life
I don't know
because
why.
with sleeping during the day, you're missing out. It's a serious FOMO thing that I used to have, but in the last month, I think I told you, I've taken 2 naps of my own accord. Like I was like, I'm gonna go lay down.
It's an hour and a half tops.
And
I
I'm
mean,
still mad. I'm still mad about it.
you're still mad that you took a nap and feel
Yes.
refreshed? You said you
Yes.
feel refreshed.
Okay. Well, I probably would have felt refreshed if really slept for 3 hours instead of 90 minutes. But that's the thing.
That's all I need is the 90.
The cat nap, that's the other aspect of it. Is like that short period of sleep. I'm just like that. You're just playing with me. That's an appetizer. Sleep is supposed to be like hours.
Mm-mm. That's going
Hours.
to bed. A nap is 90 minutes, maybe 2. I feel like 2, you're getting in too much because then you wake up groggy. But 90 minutes just to give yourself some breath. That's my thing.
I also have a beef with having to wake up when I don't want to.
After a nap, you just don't just wake up gradually.
Well, if you don't have anything to do, I had
Hmm.
something to do, so I had to get up.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
well, yeah.
saying?
I sometimes, and I do sometimes have the timer on if I'm taking a nap, so that. But I usually wake up before the timer goes off,
Never.
and then I'm like, screw. But anyway, I believe in the nap. I'm so glad that you enjoyed one today and you feel all refreshed.
I think I'm gonna, I'll dabble as needed, as prescribed. But the only time I really, really encourage a nap is if I'm going out later, like late, late. I'm
Hmm.
like, all right, let me take this nap so I can be out till 2, 3 in the morning.
That's when it's pretty. No, it didn't start like that for me. Nap started for me the moment I got home from school. Every
Oh no.
day, I took me like a good 45-minute nap. Then I was up.
No, because then I'm disoriented. We live in New England, so think about like fall, right?
Hmm.
It's almost dark when you get home from school.
It's
Then you take a nap and it's pitch black outside. I like that throws my equilibrium off. I'm like, no.
it
And then
refreshed me.
when I was pregnant, I so for me, especially every pregnancy, I never had morning sickness.
Mhm.
Or it was like one day
Yeah, me
of
too.
morning sickness. But my thing was I was so tired the
Listen.
first trimester, like exhausted.
Mhm.
That's probably the only time in my life I looked forward to just like I wasn't even napping. I was just coming home at like 5:30, 6 o'clock and going to bed.
That's the worst though, because it was for me that that time when I was like really tired. It was like the blood in your body was tired. Your heart was tired. Every single cell felt tired and you felt heavy. I did not like that.
Yeah, these people, they would
Mm-mm.
just succubus.
So,
Just
yeah, sucked
just
everything out.
slurping your life force energy out of you. And I was just like, I could not wait for work to be over. I
Mm-mm.
could not wait. I think I might have even napped a couple of times at
There,
work, like because I was so sleepy. And
there
it
was.
was always the first trimester. Then after, like, month 4 on, I was fine. I was perfectly fine, but just drained, exhausted with cooking these people up.
Mhm. There were times I'd go in the car. I used to love to take a nap in the car.
Mm.
Love to take a nap in the car. If this was years ago when I used to work at Super Walmart. Oh, and
Ooh.
the Winn Dixie. I worked at those two
Oh,
places.
this must have been in Mississippi.
Yes, it was in Mississippi. And as soon as it was break, I don't care if it was 15 minutes. I was in the car taking a little nap.
Oh my gosh, that just unlocked a memory for me. So I remember when I was like, I had a brief stint of unemployment, which was like my longest time ever not working. It was like 9 months. So
Mhm.
I was, at home and I was like working really hard to find a job, whatever. And then I got a job and went to work. I was so tired that first week. I don't know. I
Mhm.
can't even explain it. It wasn't like I was doing manual labor. I was working for a tech company. I
Mhm.
was so tired that I would go in the car, and I
Taking
think
nap.
that that time I might have had a minivan.
Mhm.
I had like a second or third row or something. Well, of
Oh,
course you have a
you had a
second row.
minivan?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When my
That is
kids were
hilarious.
small.
I know, that's funny.
Yeah,
That's
when
something I said I would never ever
I
have.
had two. I had two minivans, but I
Mhm,
would get in the row that had like the best tint
mhm.
and just knock out, set my timer, and then wake up. I would even skip lunch
Yep,
because I was like, let
yep.
me take this. So in retrospect, I've had bursts of
Yeah.
napping that have like served me. But yeah, I had two minivans. I had a Chrysler
Mhm.
minivan. It was like eggplant purple, looked like Barney.
Oh, I think I remember that.
And I had a Volkswagen
I think I remember the
Rotier,
eggplant.
maybe.
Mhm.
Cause it was like the three kids and my husband, everybody's big. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So
Mhm,
I was like, we had a sedan up until the point where the kids started getting like really, because they're all tall. They're all 5'8" and taller.
mhm, mhm.
So then they were in high school, then it's like I gotta pick up the friends, and so we just got the minivan.
Yeah, I'm always been a small SUV person, and
Yeah.
before I had an SUV, I had a sedan, and that was a long time ago. I had a little old tiny old Nissan Sentra.
Yeah, no, my favorite car was my Passat, my sedan. That was my last sedan. That was my
Mhm,
baby. My
mhm.
Volkswagen Passat 2.0 turbo. I mean, that baby could burn. She
Mhm.
was, oh, I miss my girl. And they don't make the Passat anymore.
I was gonna say, I don't think I've seen them in a while.
No, if I got one, it would be like a vintage one or something. But I'm not trying to revisit that. I
Yeah.
can't step into any car that's low to the ground. Any like that no longer
No,
serves
I
me.
know. I always feel like I'm Fred Flintstone, like pushing it with my feet. I just
Pedaling.
know. I cannot do it.
Anytime I rent a car, I don't even look at sedans. I only
Well,
look
I'm
at
glad I did. I did the for the rental I had after my accident. It was a Hyundai, what was it? Sentra? No, Elantra or whatever their car is, and it was decked out. And I was just like, whatever is in this car, that's what I want in my next car.
okay,
I would not get. Still, I wouldn't get a sedan because I hated driving low.
yeah.
But I love that car. It was a beautiful car. I just can't remember the name of it.
It
So,
was probably an Elantra because the Nissan is a
Elantra.
Sentra. Yeah.
Okay, I think yeah, I did say that. Hyundai Elantra, I think it was, and it's not the biggest sedan they have. I think I'm not sure, but
Mm.
anyway, it was a nice car. So to the week, to the week, to the week of hell, the week of hell.
So this Yeah, I was so happy my cousin had her baby at the end of last week
Oh, she was
because
so
I was like, thank you for giving me a ray of sunlight to latch onto because social media, the news,
ugh.
just one on one conversations have been dominated by the.
And and we're not going to talk much about this because I'm pretty sure all of our listeners are probably tired of it as well. I just want to just talk about the hypocrisy just for
Mhm.
a moment, not just the hypocrisy of who this person was, because a lot of people, a lot of Christians are upset because the way he died and him being a Christian man and a
So
man
to
that they
frame,
feel,
let's frame it in case someone listens to it back or was living under a rock
you don't want to
or.
say the person's name, but
Right. So we'll
Charlie
just
Kirk,
say there was an
who was
incident that
killed.
happened. A
And
conservative uh, was assassinated. Let's call
yeah,
it what it is
they know. They
in
know.
Utah at a college, and we're talking about the fallout. We're not talking about any of
Yeah.
that stuff. We're just talking about the response because
So
that's the thing
anyway,
that we came
my
here to talk
point
about. Yeah.
is that, one, Donald Trump came out and he eviscerated the liberals and Democrats, saying that some of us needed to be hunted for what we did to this man. And it turns out wasn't a liberal, it was a Republican who did this. As has been the last, what, 4 or 5 assassination attempts have been Republican white men, right?
And they
To
found
the
the
one
kid.
on supposedly Donald Trump, those two Republican white men.
They found the young man within 48 hours because a family member
Oh,
turned him
sorry,
in.
they didn't find him. Oh, okay. Thank you. You said it
Yeah.
because the FBI. We got him. No, you didn't get him. The
First of all, you
father,
let him
the
get away.
father brought him in to you
Yeah.
because it was a test to this guy who used to be a podcaster, has never been, and taken a degree in criminal justice. Nothing, nothing about enforcement is in his background, but he's the head of the FBI, but only because he is a friend of, not a friend, but a bootlicker of Donald Trump. So everyone came out, and no one, and again, no one deserves to be assassinated. No one deserves to be shot down in the street,
Yeah.
sitting there, spewing the stuff that you spew. And I'm going to give you that. Do I feel sorry for this particular person? No. And this is my problem with Christianity. This is my problem. Well, you know what? Not Christianity, white Christianity, and specifically GOP Christianity. Donald Trump is supposed to be the savior of these people, and
Mm.
he's supposed to be akin to Jesus Christ. Donald Trump speaks so hatefully of people in America, of Americans, of human beings, of people around the world, of his enemies, of his perceived enemies, anybody who does not like him, he speaks very, very ill of. I don't know how a person who claims to be a Christian and follow the 10 commandments or any of it, throw out your neighbor. Remember they were celebrating the alligator Alcatraz thing that they had built, that we spent all those billions of dollars on, and it's just gone kaput, and then we're not even going to open it. But these are the same people that cheer when Nancy Pelosi's husband was beat up in his house. Someone broke in and beat him up. You never heard a peep out of them. They
Mm-hmm.
lowered the flag for Charlie Kirk, who has said so many things about immigrants, so many things about Black people, so many things against women. Very, very ugly speech. And then I see some of my friends who were like, rest in peace to this man. I mean, maybe they meant it in another way that
How
I
about just
didn't
say
understand it.
nothing?
But they
Just
can't
say
be
like
you
just say
cannot
nothing.
be a Christian person and say that you follow Jesus Christ and say that this man was a good man. You can't even say that Donald Trump is a good man. So Barrington school teacher, because he said the same words that Charlie Kirk said about, in his life, he was put on leave. Hopefully, we'll be doing something this week to help alleviate that. Lisa's paid. Um, the Matthew Dowd said the same thing from MSNBC. He's fired. Now,
Mm.
this week on Fox, a Fox host said that mentally ill people should be killed, executed, because we've tried everything we could to help them get themselves
He
together.
specifically was talking about homeless people,
Right.
and
So
he
homeless
he
people,
was wild for that.
right.
Yeah.
And all he had to do was apologize, still have his job. And that's the least of the most disgusting thing that these people have said. The hypocrisy is actually astounding listening to
Well,
these people.
what's bothering me about this is because people, like, I'm not being callous, but people get shot and killed every day. We've lost
A,
many of
a
our
kid died the same day at a school
well,
shooting.
students, yeah, students die. Like, people are shot and killed every day, regardless of what political side of the fence you're on. With certain things, it's like, right, like you said, no one deserves this. What is bothering me is that we're becoming our democracy is like
No,
crumbling is not even the word. This shit is fucking in quicksand,
mm-hmm,
because they actually have a website that's been built allegedly where you can turn people in if you see them saying or doing anything in opposition, right? So you can, like, turn your friends and neighbors in. Like, are we in Soviet Russia in 1981? Like, where are we? This
mm-hmm,
is the United States of America, and to the republic for which we stand. All of these amendment rights that y'all want, the right to bear arms, y'all got it. And look what happened. You know what I'm saying? All these people who have been fighting for advocacy for more gun control. I hope that was the point this young man was trying to make with his actions, because that was the most extreme action you could possibly take. So it'd be interesting to actually hear why he did it. And I'm guessing that was his point, was like, okay, guns, here we go. I'm going to show you what that means. And CK himself said, we are going to have to lose some people to
mm-hmm.
maintain our right to bear arms. And he happened to fall into that category with which he said himself. So the fact that people are getting fired, and even my coworkers are reaching out to me like, hey girl, don't say anything. Make sure you are, cool on social media because people are getting fired. Not from my job.
Yeah.
Thank God that didn't happen to my job, but we're just seeing this happen.
Mm-hmm.
We're turning into something that is just so, for the America
Where
that
was the freedom of speech that
we're
these
supposed to
people
have, right?
claim that that was taken away from them, which has never been the case. They've always
Right.
been free, to say what you want, but the consequences for just saying, and honestly saying what this man actually said,
Repeating
repeating
it
his words,
verbatim.
words, and
Yeah.
that's enough. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, and it just goes to show you, like, where we are, what we are propping up in the United States of America, and then people who are in. So, but to me, when I see things like this happen, it also reminds me that as much power as they think they have, those of us on the right side of the law, on the right side of history, on the right side of humanity and justice, we also have power. We can also create websites. We can also turn people in, and people are getting doxxed on both sides of the fence. My thing is, like, if this was 10 years ago when this happened, it would be a news story, but it would not be unraveling the way it's unraveling right now. We are in a very shitty place right now in this country, with how we are letting white supremacy have its moment, which they do not deserve. It's always been your moment, but y'all
Mhm,
been doing it under your white sheets. Go back under them sheets and stay the fuck over there.
mhm,
You know what I'm saying? That's part of being in America, is you have the right to talk all that shit, but
mhm.
talk it in your house with your family and your fucking Ku
Not when
Klux
you have a
Klan
president that
crew.
says it out loud.
Yeah, don't bring that shit to me. Like, it, and my thing with politics is, I generally would like, vote in the election. I would look at the topics and the politics every 4 years. I don't want to fucking think about politics every day. I don't. And I think the average human being wants to go to work, make their money, raise their family, go on vacation, have a hobby, watch TV. We don't want to think about the heavy shit every single day. And this is mentally taxing. It is mentally
We
taxing.
are in a situation where we are all mentally taxed. But the thing is, the thing that I want to just touch base on really quick is the Christianity of it. The hypocrisy of these people who claim that they are Christian, God loving people, and they hate everybody. You hate everybody. And my thing is with Black people, since slavery, we have always been taught under Christianity to forgive our oppressors.
Mm-hmm.
We can't be those people anymore because our
Yeah.
oppressors consistently tearing up and killing our families. I'm not saying you walk around like they do because I don't see them has ever been happy. They have never been happy. They have never been satisfied. They have never been at peace. That's why they always have to fear something. They always have to hate something. If that's their Christianity. They taught you something entirely different in your Christianity because you can go into any Black church and feel comfortable. You cannot go into any white Christian church. You absolutely cannot. You will be told that you don't belong there. And if you're not told with words, you are told with actions, you are told by the face, you are told you are not welcome. That's not the same type of Christianity. The Christianity that Black people are taught is when our child is gunned down by, say, a white person, we're asked in the interview, do you forgive that person? You never see a white person whose child is gunned down in the street if they forgive that. It's never come up in any interview I have ever seen. Do you forgive that person? We are
So
always told to forgive the people who do the most harm to us and that it will be okay in heaven, in the afterlife. But while they're making hell for us on this life and they're living their heaven, why can't we have heaven too? Think
no, and
about
I
your Christianity and who taught it to you and how they taught it to you.
so I think that what you're saying is that there are definitely spaces, and I think there are a lot of them where we couldn't walk our Black selves into a white church and feel comfortable. I have seen Black people integrate into white churches and it be seamless.
Hmm.
I've experienced it. I'm not saying
I've
I
heard
can speak
about it.
for
I
I
have a
can't speak for
relative that
everyone.
goes to one, and she seems very in Missouri of all places. I would.
Personally, as welcome as I have felt in those circumstances, I
Mhm,
still prefer a Baptist church. Like that Black Baptist
mhm.
just is my
Black
happier
holiness,
space.
any of them.
But I have a lot of family in the Midwest in
Mhm,
Indiana. You have family in the Midwest, and in their churches, my uncle who lives in a county that's predominantly white. That was the church that they had to
mhm,
go to, and they've been going to that church for 50 years or whatever, and they were welcome. There are spaces, there are white Christian spaces where Black people can feel welcome, but the ones that are so hypocritical, like you said, there are some, and that seems to it's a bad thing because they're giving a stereotype over that makes us think that they're all like that because the hatred is so pervasive when it is.
mhm.
And Christianity is not supposed to be that. Christianity is supposed to be God is love, God is omnipotent, and we are, all created in God's image and we are all his children. That's supposed to be Christianity. The weaponizing of it started hundreds, thousands of years ago, and it was used to prop up slavery. It was used to prop up racism against other races, and
You
and to prop up,
people's land.
right, and to prop up white supremacy. The fact that we are here talking this shit on this land is because of exactly what we're talking about. And then rewriting history, rewriting the Bible.
Mhm.
We are using that as context when we have this conversation and say, well, goddamn, what is wrong with y'all? You know what
Mhm.
I mean? And the fact that a white child or a white young man can walk into a black church and obliterate a whole choir or
Mhm.
people meeting in a church, which happened just a few years ago, is because no one batted an eye when he walked into that church because they were like, he just is coming here to praise the Lord. The fact that you would walk in a church and kill people who are minding their business
Mhm.
is it just speaks to what we're dealing with. And you know, I'm just hopeful that we can get through these 4 years without this even. I guess it's gotta happen. It has to play out, and we've got another 3.5 years at minimum of this, unless some big changes are made. Some big changes have to be made, but I'm
But I
like,
don't think that we have it in us to be that change because and I'm not putting this on black people at all because we didn't put ourselves in this situation. The thing is just like how MSNBC fired that man to, for saying exactly what that man stood for. They kowtowed to that. We are consistently kowtowing to Donald Trump and his administration. Those people should be what they did on January 6th, that's what white people need to be doing right now in these streets every single day because this is their fight. Because we can't fight like that because as soon as we try and put ourselves out like that, they're going to bring out the tanks. You know,
mhm.
no great uprise has happened in the United States yet. Um, Considering, Donald Trump and the GOP, we've allowed them to grow because we didn't stop the harsh speaking when it first started. We were being polite and I look at, I'm sorry, I love Joe Biden. That's a Christian man. Barack Obama, Christian men. Those are Christian men. Their words. And we have allowed the GOP to turn it around that make Donald Trump the Jesus Christ when
And
he's never done anything good for anyone. All he does is fear and hate. That's what he
What
leads
what
with.
what really makes me laugh is the whole fuss over the Epstein files. Like that, to
Oh,
me, it smacks of Hillary's emails again. I'm like, you're so drilled down on not that it's not important. Obviously, the Epstein files. I'm sure some horrific things happen, and I'm almost certain you're this country's president is more than adjacent to it, but the emphasis that they're putting on it, I'm like, that's your breaking point with him.
but that's not
That
the breaking point with them. You see how they have changed it now. He said, "Oh, it's a Democratic hoax," and they're all riding with that. They're not, and then they're saying, "Well, if he is on there now, he's an FBI informant." They've all changed it. They will move the goalpost. There is no breaking point for the GOP, and part of the reason why Charlie Kirk was in the situation he is in now is because the young man that did shoot him, he's part of that group. Like, why are you switching up? You're not being hardcore Republican enough. We need to see the files. That was one of the things, but also Laura Loomer had been, who is like a hardcore sycophant for Donald Trump. She had been for the last couple of weeks, which she's deleted all those ex posts and everything. She has been talking about him for the last couple of weeks about how he is an enemy to Donald Trump, and this kid was following her. So yeah, they're infighting over it because there's a section of Republicans now that are saying, like, no,
yeah.
we don't need to see the Epstein files, and the other files like, this was the whole thing that we wanted to see who was on the list. It's the hypocrisy, and
But
again,
we
the
know
level
we
for which
know
they
all
have
the we know the other things that he's done. The Epstein files would be
that's not
terrible,
enough.
but we've seen, you raped people, you friggin' you disenfranchise black and brown people, you
Those
sent
black
five
people don't
innocent
care.
young boys to jail in New York. Like your trail of deception, of filth
Bankrupt,
is
bankrupt
it's
over
a
and over
snail
again.
trail, a snail trail of dirt and shit. And this is
There's
the
no break.
breaking point. Please, please.
There is
I'm
no breaking point.
honestly, when I saw him on, I forget what show was this week, when he actually showed up to have y'all president, when he got on TV, I thought I was like, there was a rumor that something had happened to him a couple weeks ago, like either he had a stroke or he was
Yeah.
sick or dead or something like that, and we hadn't really seen his face in a while. I'm like, is he all right over there? Because I'm like, maybe they're,
There was some signs that it looked like something was going on with
he
that slack
definitely
mouth.
had a
Mm-hmm.
little extra spray tan happening. I'm like, tied long as hell. I wish he'd trip on it. I'm so it's like I'm so sick of it. And so my family historically, they love to keep the news on. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you go to most of my family members' houses,
Mm-hmm.
that's background noise to them. Like
Mm-hmm.
from the moment they get up to the moment
Like,
they switch off the
mm-hmm.
light to go to bed, news all day long. I am so anti that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
so anti that. And it's sad to say I get my news off of social media because I really don't like watching the ticker all day long because it is so very depressing. But
Mm-hmm.
I was traveling last week, so I was at my aunt's house and sun up to sundown. Don't care what I mean. I'm like, ma'am, don't you worry about your electrical bill. Really, you just play this. And I have another cousin, like my mom's first
Mm-hmm.
cousin, CNN all day long from the time we were kid. Like my family's very much into following like that. But when I was watching, the news that was coming out of Pennsylvania, because you get a little different perspective when you watch news in another city or another state. I was like, some of this stuff ain't news.
Mm-hmm.
Some
Mm-hmm.
of the stuff is not news, or it's news, but it's not a 2-3 day story that we need to be hearing. Like, this unfortunate incident where this schizophrenic man murdered a fast food worker on the public transportation. I forget what city they were in, but
Oh, the
this
black guy, and she was like from
the Ukraine.
Ukraine.
Yeah, she
Like
escaped
they
war.
care about Ukrainians now. But a
So
black woman was killed by a white man. What, 2 weeks before then? You haven't heard boo.
hadn't heard about it.
Slit her throat on the bus.
And that the thing is that it almost felt like the stories that, and I will say planting, the stories that they were planting are trying to sow seeds of discord and
Oh yeah,
discontent. Because
definitely.
there was another story about a guy who told an elderly couple he wanted to charge his phone, got into their house, murdered
Oh
them,
yeah,
and then
I
set
saw
the
that.
house on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Also a black man. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not excusing any type of
Oh
crime,
no,
especially where
that was
people die or murder. But I'm
disgusting.
like, those are the only two death stories that y'all have, or murders that
Mm-hmm.
happened. It
Mm-hmm.
almost feels like they are purposely planting stories, because
Oh,
if I
definitely.
lived in Pennsylvania, I'd feel like, damn, black people is just committing murders every day.
Well, I mean, people think that as it is because those are the stories that do get highlighted. And then they're taught from very early on that if there's a problem in America, it's because of Black people. No matter what
Hmm.
it is, no matter what the problem is, and no matter what, you should always fear them. If they start moving into your neighborhood, be afraid. You're walking down the street, be afraid. And the
I
statistics don't bear that out, but that is what is promoted.
and someone was on one of the shows saying that black people are 17% of the population and we commit 50% of the crimes. And this
Not
this
true.
black guy was like, first of all,
Mhm.
how does that even work? There's
Mhm.
certain states where we're like 0.1%. How is that even statistically
Mhm.
possible? So you're wrong. That's number
Mhm.
one. And number two, it's like, it's bad facts, bad stats like this that make people look at us crazy. But
Mhm.
someone had written something on Facebook that, I think it was Senator Liz Miranda, and it said, Black women cannot be your hero and your target, your savior and your target. I
That's
was
why I
like,
said the
a
people
better
who get
word
taken out
has
in the
never been
street
said.
are not us.
A
The
better
people
word
in the
has
street.
never been said. Because in there are there are bad people of every friggin' race, creed, culture,
Mhm.
age group. That's one thing that's equal opportunities. You're gonna have terrible people in any race. You're gonna have amazing people who, are just like salt of the
But
earth. And
you're
then
gonna
you're
have
just gonna,
one race that gets away with it the most.
and that's what it is. And that's because it's been a head start. During the
Mhm.
pandemic, that woman had she did like a spoken piece about like equating living in the United States to like being a game of Monopoly. Like y'all had a head start. You had more money in the bank. You had this. So of course the disadvantaged immigrants, people who are descendant of slaves, people who were just, generationally poor have a disadvantage over the wealthy, over the more privileged. That just is a reality.
Mhm.
So of course things are going to be more of a struggle, but who struggles more and perseveres than the disenfranchised? And we y'all still trying to kick us with your boot when we don't even want what you have. We want what we want to have.
Mhm.
And
If white if
building
poor
it.
white people realize that they are just pawns, they're being used because those people at the top, they're not
They
scared
ain't
of black
thinking about
people.
you. They are not
No,
thinking
they're
about
not
you.
scared of black people. They're telling you to be scared of black people. They're
Right.
telling you to be afraid of immigrants who they hire. They're telling you that these people are trying to take something from you. How can they take anything from you that they don't have? The people at the top are the ones taken from you. It's
Right.
amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But
Oh,
I just encourage people, if you're getting overwhelmed by this, like find a moment to disconnect. If you got to delete apps off of your phone, if you have to delete friends, one of our friends told us that they lost some Facebook friends. You know what? That's actually a good thing, because I
yeah.
lost some friends during the George Floyd situation, and I never
Mhm,
looked back. And and
mhm,
I and I also lost some people during the first election of Donald Trump, who were quote unquote friends,
mhm.
because I was like, no, our values
Are
do not
different.
align. and
Mhm.
and, and another thing I read recently was like, and I think it was Dr. Bernice King, Martin Luther King's daughter. She said, uh, racism and a difference of opinion are not the same.
Exactly.
So therefore,
Exactly.
I now have a zero tolerance policy for that, especially if we're just Facebook friends and we're not even friends in real life, and we were just like
Mhm,
kicking it online. Or you could work in the cubicle next to me if I was in the office. I
mhm,
don't got to talk to you if it's
mhm.
not work related. So if we
Mhm.
have a difference of opinion, listen, I don't have to be friends with you,
No.
especially if you are continuing to try to make gaslight me into thinking that because I want fairness on this side, and
And
that
how are you a Christian and don't want that for
too many
everybody?
passes. And some of them, and what's crazy is, funny you should mention that, because the Christians are gonna probably be in our DMs about this. But my atheist and agnostic friends have the best freaking memes about this whole thing.
But you know what? I said years ago, I always tell this story. Years ago, this guy wanted to date me, and he's an atheist. And could not do it. I'm like, how could
Yeah,
you not believe in God or whatever? I mean, I believe in God. I felt like, oh, it was just whatever. And but still remain friends with this person. The nicest human being you'd ever want to meet. Now, I understand why he had issues and why he chooses not to believe. I get it. I totally get it. And I have another friend who is atheist too. Totally get it now. And
yeah,
yet, I'd rather keep company with an atheist than I would with a lot of Christians and a lot of Muslims too. People who are in religion are not the nicest people.
yeah. It's sad, because that's the whole thing that you're supposed to
Mhm,
be doing. Is you're supposed to be following these tenets. You're supposed to be, you know, do unto others as you have them do to you, all that good stuff. And people throw all of that away. I honestly, like, I don't go to the church building like that anymore. I do consider myself like a believer, and it's beyond spirituality for me. I do believe in a higher
mhm,
power. I do believe in God. God has done miracles literally in
mhm,
my life. So I do believe that, but I also believe I don't understand fully what that all encompasses, and a book can't explain it. It's more so the relationship that I actually have with God. And it started in the church. I had to learn it somewhere. So I learned it at home and I learned it in the church. But
Mhm.
I also like took it as some of this stuff is not so accurate. I was able to discern that, and many people don't. I also take a lot of issue with people who do so much dirt, hit rock bottom, and then they turn to religion, and then all they want to do is spout religion to you. That
Yeah.
freaking
Yeah.
burns me to my core,
Mhm.
because I'm like, so wait, you went out here and you just did all these savage things. You just misbehaved and what, and we all misbehaved. But now that you got so low in your life that you felt like there was nowhere else to turn, then you went to God. I've known
Mhm.
God since I came out the canal. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, that was how I was raised, but we weren't raised to believe that God was vengeful. We weren't
Mhm.
raised to believe that God is striking people down. Not in my church anyway, or the churches. I actually have such great memories of church, especially in Honduras. Like, I loved going to church because it was
Mhm.
music, it was community, it was food, it was celebration, it was traditions. And that was the Christian church I grew up in, that I
Mhm.
came to love. And when my kids got older, I didn't force anything on them, but I just kind of showed them what I felt Christian
Mhm.
religion was. My kids are the most tolerant people that you would ever meet, but any religion that's trying to make you hate somebody else is fake as hell.
Mhm.
That's all I gotta say.
Mhm. I agree. I don't I went of course to church and I went to the mosque. And both of them, I mean, but I think that was because of the black community is so inclusive. So you're always going to feel a certain way because you're with your people. I could have just been at a hall, and someone speaking, I would feel that way. But I feel like with especially with church and with growing up in Islam, one of the things especially that I learned in Islam was to to think for yourself. You get the stories, and Islam is actually what they call a blueprint on how you should live your life. And I know there are a lot of things that people misunderstand about it, or or choose not to. But it's supposed to be a blueprint, like your 10 commandments are a blueprint about how you're
Hmm.
supposed to live your life. So is the New Testament and the Old Testament. But people take these things and then they turn it, but miss the most important thing. How can you hate immigrants when Jesus said, love your neighbor
Hmm.
and love the immigrant that comes into your and to your land? He says that part. Love the immigrant that comes into your land, and you
Can
say,
can we talk about the parting of the Red Sea? They went from one place. They
mm-hmm,
parted the Red Sea so they could get to another place. That's called immigration. So,
okay,
so you know what I'm saying, and I don't want to fully let the black church off the hook, because there's a
yeah,
lot of stuff
don't.
that still
Mm-hmm.
needs an overhaul there. Stop hating on gay people,
And that's
because
what I started.
your choir director, half your choir, some of your deacons, sometimes your pastor be liking on boys too. So
Mm-hmm,
you know what I mean, or girls, or whatever they like, they them. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be a place where you can go. And the thing is that black church actually got as strong as it did because they worked slaves so freaking hard. The only day they would give you to have a damn break, if they gave it to you, was on Sunday. So going to church was that place where you could actually let your hair
mm-hmm,
down for a little bit. And that's
mm-hmm,
probably why black church is so daggone long. They probably try to drag it out as long as possible to get a breath up in
mm-hmm.
there. And so that was, why the black church became so tight and so, like, in some ways so loving and so protective, and in other ways it also became a place that was unsafe for a lot of different people. So there are a lot of contradictions in all religions, but like you said, think for yourself. There's so many beautiful parts of Islam. I'm not Muslim, but my many of my husband's family members are Muslim, and so
Mhm,
I've been to ceremonies and celebrations in that tradition, and I'm like, wow, this is really beautiful. And it's something that overlaps, and you could apply to other religions. Like, I'm not even mad at women and men being separate in the mosque. Like, I actually
Mhm,
find beauty in women
mhm,
being together. To me, it's not sexist, but to some of
mhm,
my other family members, they're like, that feels
mhm,
sexist to me. I'm like, if you put it in the wrong context, yeah, it can feel sexist, but in reality, it's just like, honestly, there's a little bit of a vibe that women have together. There's a vibe that
mhm,
men can have alone together. We ain't always got to be together, and that's not necessarily, sexism. But again, that's critical thinking, like using your mind and getting out of that hive mentality of
mhm,
we hate everybody, or we did it, and it's never, oh, we all love everybody. It's never that. It's always, how can we break this person? How can we change their
mhm,
way of thinking? Like, if we started turning more towards the love side of religion,
mhm.
imagine what we could do.
Or what you say your Jesus and Prophet Muhammad preached. Just follow those things. Follow those things, and it would be
Jesus
all
was
taken
hanging
care
with prostitutes, alcoholics, okay, sinners.
of. He wasn't talking about like killing the homeless just
No,
because
he was
they
not.
have like some addiction issues. It's come on, you cannot. But these are things that people teach their children, and this is why we keep going the same way. But I'm saying the only way, especially for our government, to get our government back, there's going to have to be some actual physical movement, because just writing it, just saying that, oh, that boycotting and all that, those things help, but there has to be some physical movement from the people who put us here.
When I ever turn, so again, I'm watching this endless news and all these stories or whatever when I'm in Pennsylvania, I see Sonia Sotomayor on TV. I'm like, oh, great. She's going to talk about some solutions. No, she's promoting her kids' book. I'm like, girl, I,
No.
I'm glad you have a kids' book and it's bilingual and all that shit. But what the fuck you going to do to help us? Supreme Court.
And that's another thing. Those are some of the things we need to start working on. Like, we got to get rid of the Supreme Court. They're not for us. They are not for us. I mean, and we have shown how easy it is. Lifelong appointees. How easily it is for them to say, one, oh, a school can't determine whether or not a person is selected to go to their school based on color. So let's get rid of and all these like DEI things for school. But in the same breath can say, well, the law has the right to profile somebody who is black, brown, or Chinese or whatever, because they might not be here. So that's profiling. So all of a sudden now those two things can't be right.
First of all, this is America, and this is not my point of view. This is America's point of view. We don't trust old people to do shit, but we trust you to be 99 years old in the Supreme Court making
Or in the
decisions.
damn Senate.
That is ridiculous. That is so
Mhm.
ridiculous. We have a retirement
When
age of
we've already
65.
seen that you're racist.
Some people work beyond the age of 65 for retirement. By 70-ish, you need to be wrapping it up. I'm sorry. Like, and I'm not saying you're incapable or infirm or whatever, but let some new, fresh, young blood come in and help make these decisions. Now, I mean, I don't, a lot of things need to be dismantled and need to be
Honestly,
reformed.
I can see a 77 person still staying in their job. And the only reason I say that is because, especially when it comes to politics. But I agree with you. Everything should have term limits. But the only reason I say that, I remember my two of my great aunts. One lived to be 106, and another, she's 99 now. But they are so progressive thinking. You know, they're not the people that when you tell them a new idea, automatically just shit on it because it's not the way we used to do it. And I've seen them come and evolve from thinking a person who's gay will never get into heaven to thinking, well, that's not my place to say, and I gotta love everybody.
Yeah.
So and one was 106 and the other one is 99 now. That's progressive thinking. That's the type of person. If you're going to be 77 and you're going to be making laws, I want you to be able to evolve as the world evolves.
Well, that goes to the point of who are we letting in the first place? If we're going to keep
Exactly.
this, if we're going to keep this ageless, until death do us part, then make sure the
Hmm.
person getting in there is the right person in the first place, instead of letting people
You
in
don't
there
know
who are.
that until, and that's why, like you said, there needs to be term limits,
There
because you could
does.
get the right person in there, but then they could stay in 2025 when it's 2042. No,
Yeah,
you gotta,
it's
it's
ridiculous.
insane.
But I'm just like, it's sad, and it's crazy, and we are also privileged as Americans to even
Yeah,
be able to have these conversations, to even be able to have
for the time being,
this lens, yeah, for
because
the
we
time
don't know
being,
how
right?
long
Which is
he'll
why
be able to keep having these conversations.
I love our artist community that we are on the outskirts of, because I'm not a spoken
Mhm.
artist in any way, but we know we've been kind of like dipping and dabbling in the spoken community here around Providence, and to me, those are the people who are gonna, they're gonna keep the word going. They're gonna keep conversations happening. They're gonna
Yeah,
keep the blood flowing on a lot of different topics, and just helping us to get things out, because it's if you just sit there and watch the news all day, if you just talk to your coworkers and your colleagues, and I strongly discourage the political discussion
yeah.
in work. I know, Shahida, you gonna do what you do, but I'm like, don't go in
No, no,
there.
no, no, no. You say I'm going to do what I do, but I talk to people who I know.
I ain't even trying to
That
talk to
I
people who I
know.
know.
I'm not talking to. I know who I can't talk to,
I'm
and I'm
not
not
even
having this
bringing it in there.
conversation like with uh, coworkers that I don't trust.
I ain't saying nothing to nobody. It's gonna be very light. I this week I've been very light on sharing things. If I share things, it's kind of
Yeah,
like it's not
I shared a lot.
specifically about that person. It's about,
Mhm.
okay, the flip side of that coin. Let me send you the list of all the people who've been assassinated that were younger than 31, that had family and friends that cared about them. That's what I'm
Mhm.
sharing. So I'm not even gonna,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And I know who, like you said, I know who to share that with. But even sometimes when you think you know who you're talking to, you don't even know who you really talking to. Because I don't know
this
if I
is
brought
true.
this up on the podcast, but I used to work for a car dealership company, and I thought this one general manager was cool. Like, we had such a good relationship, and I'm like, that Nick is a great guy. But, and I'm gonna say his name, fuck it, he probably
Uh,
dead now. That Nick is such a great guy,
I thought
girl.
you said something else at first. I was like, okay.
When President Obama ever won his first term, the way this man turned on me, the
Turned on
way
you.
he turned on me,
Mm,
because I was very much
got personal, huh?
vocal about wanting Obama in office. I didn't say anything about his candidate that was negative. I didn't send him. He was above me in the chain of command. The way he turned on me, and
Mm,
and it was little slight stuff here and there. It was his. He was less friendly. That was number one. Number two, when I needed things at work, I couldn't get them as easily as I used to get them before. And then when I was asking for things that I deserved in the workplace, I was getting shut down all of a sudden.
mhm,
And I was
mhm,
just like, wow, he flipped the script. He was showing me one face for like
mhm,
2 years. And then
mm,
that happened, and he caught an instant attitude, and every black person was responsible for that after that.
mm. That's
Because
ugly.
we voted him in, and we messed his life
Mm,
up somehow. So
mm,
I was just like, that was like a lesson for me. And then I've seen people lose family members over politics. So I was just
mhm.
like, you know what? I'm just going to, if I can make a change on my own, I'll do that. But I'm at the point of trying to debate people and engage them
Yeah,
in
don't
conversation, or
debate.
see my point of view. No more.
Yeah, I used to debate. But I feel like trying to debate somebody who willingly supports Donald Trump. There's no, because our, like you said, our values are not aligned. because it's not even about politics, it's about your morality.
Hmm.
And if you can look at that person who I see and hear and say that that's a good man, Suzanne, nah, nah,
The fact that
it's not the same.
you're willing to pay a $50,000 bonus to people who sign up for ICE. So obviously you need people because you don't got nobody. You're offering
Mhm,
50K and you're paying back student loans, but you're not doing it for educators. You're not
mhm,
doing it for disenfranchised youth. You're giving this to people just so they can round up people that you feel don't belong in this country when you're in a country that you didn't really rightfully come to on your, or
mhm,
your distant family members didn't come to the
mhm.
right way. That is so greasy. That is
Yeah,
so
it
greasy.
is.
And
It's painful. This
I
is
hope that, they always say karma is the bitch. I really hope karma is the bitch that they say she is. I would love
extreme.
to see it.
I
I would
would,
love to
I
see it.
would, but I'm just looking, and I'm just it's and not just looking here, but just looking across the world, and it is just a clusterfuck of just badness. It's just I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like this is well, you go through history and it we are in a point in history that we have been before. But I don't think that we know enough history to help us get out of it quicker. So I think it will last much longer than the 4 years.
Yeah. Well, we have to take the small wins where we can, and we have to make change where we are. And we do still have some control. We do still have some things that are within our purview to make change. We still can talk to our families and our children. We can raise our children a certain way. We can do good things where we can do good things within our community, and that's going to be the stuff that we can plant the garden. If we can help our
Mhm.
neighbor, there are still things that we can still do. We can run for office. We can support
Definitely
people.
run for office. You got to try that part because that's
Support.
run for
Yeah.
office, become police officers, become firemen, become all infiltrate these jobs that they tie up in and can be used against us. You have to be
Hmm.
in the fields. Yeah, it's great to raise up basketball players, but it's great to raise up lawyers too. Let's concentrate a lot
Absolutely.
on that.
Yep.
Well, we were not gonna do
We
this,
was
folks.
trying not to do the whole episode about this, but all good. I did want to just touch a little bit on the
Go ahead
HBCU
on
week that
something nice.
happened 2 weeks ago. We actually didn't get to do an episode about that. But here in Boston, Morehouse played Johnson C. Smith in a football game at Harvard University. It was a historical event, and it was packed. There was so many people, so much
Mm-hmm.
excitement, and people are hoping that this will be a call to maybe have some satellite HBCU campuses throughout the country. So this is another
Oh, that would
area. Yeah,
be cool. I think I
that's
read
an
that too. Yeah.
that's another area where we can grow and we can thrive if we focus on the things that we still have control over. So that could be beautiful. So, HBCU stands for historically black colleges and universities. So the historical piece, you can't, move Morehouse to Massachusetts. It's not going to be historical. But if you open a satellite campus of it, you can have an offset of it. I guess the closest thing we have to it is Roxbury Community College. And I'm not, putting that down. That university is, oh well, the college has been there for over 30 years. So I mean, that's a big strong part of our community, and many people I know have attended there. So that's the thing. But Black excellence was happening that entire week. New Edition got their street named after them. Morehouse did so many activities in collaboration with the mayor's office and different brands. Essence was part of it, and it was just such a beautiful time. And we need more. We need more activities like that. And everyone was there. It was a good
And
representation, but it
please do
was,
not say we don't support
oh my
because
gosh, it
it took
was
me
amazing.
45 minutes. No, I want to say straight an hour just to find a place to park.
Yeah, the parking situation was
Support.
wild.
Yeah,
It was
it was.
definitely calling for the red line the next time they do something like that.
Mhm,
But
mhm,
so many great networking events. I met amazing people. I actually got a gig off of meeting some Morehouse alums. I'm going
mhm,
to be on a panel actually in a couple of weeks. And it was just a conversation I just happened to have with these two
mhm,
young men who graduated from Morehouse and got to talking. And so
mhm,
great. But those are the kind of opportunities. Like I said, those are things where we can uplift each other. So we need to work more on our networking, more on entrepreneur opportunities,
mhm.
more on driving our own inner society and building up. But that was a great week. I didn't want to let any more time go by without,
Us
giving
doing
them their
did.
flowers. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was great. The Divine Nine was out there. It was big.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was really. It was. I didn't stay for the whole. Well, I missed the first half. So because I couldn't find any place to. But what I saw was great, and I love seeing all the little kids out there.
Yeah.
They were out having such a good time, but then also being able to see that, college is for them. And most
Hmm.
of us, most of our young children know that at this point. But, this is a classic Black school for them to be able to see
Yeah.
that here and on their own turf. So, but anyway, it is about that time.
It's about that time.
That was a conversation. Hopefully, it'll be
Yeah.
something lighter next week. But
So,
till
I
the
mean,
next time. Hmm?
Until then, y'all know where to find us. We are on Instagram, socials. We are on Facebook, on social media with stories and reels and comments and recommendations and new restaurants opening up. And if you want to watch full episodes, back episodes, new episodes, we are on YouTube. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are on Spotify. Shahida, where will they not still to this day? So will they
I'm
not find us?
bending. I'm bending with the TikTok because they have been ostracized now. So they're going to change up their little platform a
Okay.
little. They are not back on the team. So, we probably still won't be on there because they shouldn't have tried to play themselves anyway.
We'll see. We will
We'll
see.
see. We'll see. As of now, we are still not on TikTok.
But feel free to enjoy our
This is
old
the thing.
content.
When you can't trust people who always stab other people in the back because eventually they will stab you as well.
It's playing both sides of the fence,
You
and like you
can't
said,
do
it's
it.
they're
Take a stand.
kowtowing.
Hmm.
So, you know
So
what? It's
until
a year later. I still have not purchased anything at Target in a year.
oh, speaking of Target, I went into Target today. And I went
And
into the Target in Smithfield. No, I didn't buy anything, but I was looking to buy something. I was because I didn't want to run to Walmart or I just was looking for a flash drive that will hook into the phone because I have all these videos of my baby playing basketball and I need to get them off my phone.
got
So
it.
I was just like, I'll just run in there really quick. A hot mess in there. I have never seen Target looking like Walmart.
That's what
They didn't have
happens
any.
when you toy with
Yep.
us. To this day
I
have not. A year later,
Yep,
I
that was
literally drove past Target and went somewhere else out of my way to not shop at Target. I'm still
mhm,
boycotting them because I'm still
mhm.
mad about how they pulled the rug on us.
Yeah, and they continuously keep doing it. Haven't none of the apologies have came. You have not tried to actually fix the problem. Even though I think a lot, maybe they're feeling like, oh, we're just done. But obviously, there is something that you could do. You could stand up to that piece of shit that you cow down to, and this is where you are now. Because Costco's still doing great,
Bought a
and
refrigerator from
basically,
them last week
oh, you did? Okay, I
from
need to go into
Costco. Ordered
to
it
the Costco.
online.
The one in the Stoughton, or no? Where is it? Sharon?
Uh, Sharon.
Sharon. Okay, I got to get over there.
But
But anyway,
we'll close on that note. You know where to find us. Please follow us. We're trying to get our Instagram to 1,000 followers so we can do lives directly from our Little
Oh
State Big
yeah.
Voices Instagram. For some reason, Instagram changed that up. You have to have 1,000 followers to go live. We love going live for y'all. People have told us they
It's been
enjoy
fun.
it. So we would
Hmm.
like to be able to bring that to you. But I will close this out and say there's a saying that the Jamaicans say, who don't hear must feel. So who
Hmm.
don't hear is gonna feel. That's all I have to say about
I
this
love it. And you put the
country,
little thing on it. Hmm.
about the rest of it. If you don't hear, you're gonna feel.
All right. Well, until next time, have a great week. Enjoy as much of it as you can. And like Tracy said earlier, whatever mental health needs you, please partake in them because this is a lot. This
It
is a
is.
lot.